Hello and welcome to this week's Elite Audio video, and it is of course Bristol Hi-Fi Show week, and I have to say we have packed the pallets, which is a well-known hi-fi expression, and wish them a bon voyage in the back of the lorry, which is now then to be delivered to us tomorrow. This is actually Wednesday that I'm filming this, and we will be there eagerly anticipating the final setup for the Bristol show. And what a show we have in store for you. So I want to just take a little bit of time running through what you can expect to hear and why we have selected these particular devices for this year, which is a slight diversification than we have done in previous years. So in simple terms, we have two very distinct setups and at completely different price points. So I'll quickly run through these. They're not in any particular order, but it will give you a flavour and a sense of why we have chosen these for this year. And I honestly, having heard these systems, think you will be genuinely surprised when you hear what is possible without going to mortgage levels of pricing. So here we go. So the first up, and this is in our system 2, is the Electrocompaniet ECi80D, which is Electrocompaniet's entry-level integrated amplifier. Now, what's really interesting about this amp, which you will have seen from a previous week's video, is that having come from the euphoric state of comparing entry-level all-in-ones, thinking that the Bluesound offered a taste of something high-end, my, let's say, rapture was quickly brought back into perspective when I then compared it to this. It's a very compact design. It is 80 watts per channel into 8 ohms, and that's the interesting key point that I guess I was making in those videos, that all watts are certainly not equal, because the ECi80D had the ability to drive the Revival Audio Atalante 3s to much higher volume levels with zero distortion compared to the Bluesound and the others, of course, in that same test. But this is a very interesting device because it's almost an all-in-one. It gives you Bluetooth 5 connectivity, so you can stream straight from your phone or even a tablet. It gives you a moving magnet phono stage, and it's got a truly outstanding 24-bit 192 DAC with multiple digital inputs. It's one of the most musically engaging amplifiers in its class, and I guess that is the key aspect of all Electrocompaniet amplifiers. Hugely musical. They give the hint of warmth that we need to get that musical connection, but they do it without any loss of detail, and that is their party trick. And I've not heard other amplifiers that can do it quite the same way that Electrocompaniet have managed to pull off. Some do it with the expense of ultimate detail retrieval and texture. Not Electrocompaniet. You do not compromise anything, but that warmth that you get just gives you that ability to want to listen to music for, as I discovered, till 3 AM in the morning. So a very key element in why we chose this for the Bristol show. Keeping with the integrated amplifiers, we have the Electrocompaniet ECi6 Mark II. Now, I kind of refer to this amplifier as the reviewer's choice, and with good reason. The ECi6 and its sister, brother, sibling, the ECi6DX Mark II, in terms of amplification, are identical. The DX marking itself out by having a built-in DAC and streaming module. However, the ECi6 is a 125 watts per channel amplifier. The power more or less doubles into 4 ohms and then again into 2 ohms, and it is completely stable with a 2 ohm load. And there is not many amplifiers that you can say south of £10,000 are stable at those kind of impedance loads that are presented to the amp. In fact, when you get down to even close to 2 ohms, many amplifiers will go into protection mode or simply start smoking like a fish house, where we are trying to create Arbroath Smokies or Kippers. And let me tell you, I've seen some amplifiers smoke a lot more than that when presented with a 2 ohm load. Again, it's very typical Electrocompaniet house sound. It gives you that incredible musicality that is so addictive from all Electrocompaniet products. It has the unique Electrocompaniet aesthetic, which we have grown to love over the years, and it's instantly recognizable as an Electrocompaniet device because of that striking aesthetic. The reviews this amplifier's had are incredible. As I say, it's the reviewer's choice. If you watch the Steve Huff YouTube video, you will understand why we say that, but it's not just him. There are many reviews in this amplifier and they all say the same thing. I've had clients that have compared, in fact I have one client that springs to mind who compared an ECI 6 against a Griffin Diablo 300 and was willing to spend the extra for the Griffin if it outperformed. But in his own words, there were no justifiable reasons why he should spend the extra when the ECI 6 did everything that he wanted and more, and at a price point that really surprised him. Next on the list is the Electrocompaniet ECM1 Mark II DAC streamer. Now, this is a full DSD streaming device using Electrocompaniet's own app. You can use other control apps. For example, we've used this with JPlay, which is a favourite of mine personally. It uses 2 Cirrus Logic DACs in mono configuration, and it has a reference analog output stage as well. Once again, reviews are incredible. It picked up an EAR award, plus many others. I'll bring some of these up on screen for you just now. And it is truly a remarkable device. We had the occasion to use it at Ascot. We had an issue with the ultra high-end streamer that we intended to use, but it had unfortunately sustained impact damage en route to Ascot and we were unable to use it. Well, what was surprising was how closely, or how incredibly high-end the ECM1 carried out its duties in place of what we had chosen as our #1 choice. But in the context of using it in a fully balanced and matched Electrocompaniet system, the synergy is very hard to ignore, and this really does bring musical performance that you would expect from a much higher price point, and a very aesthetically pleasing and very easy to integrate into any system device. Again, fully balanced, great sounding, and quite obviously one of the reasons why we've chosen it for this particular setup. Next on the list is the Revival Audio Atalante 3s, and quite honestly, this brand can simply not put a foot wrong ever. With the latest introduction of the Atalante Grand Reserve Limited Edition, the Atalante 3 in essence gives you incredible retro styling, incredible state-of-the-art technology. The basalt construction woofer, for example, gives you something that is highly rigid but also incredibly lightweight, meaning that the damping factor of these speakers are phenomenal, and they give a damping factor you would normally expect, again, from something costing 5 figures. These of course do not. And the number of people that have gone into, say, an Audio Tea showroom and just stumbled across these by chance and then listened to them and bought them is quite surprising. So this really is a very clear example of where price does not reflect performance. It simply gives you the ability to have a gateway into high end for for a price point that is surprising when you hear what these actually do. Next on the list is the Audio Physic Classic 25, but the 40th anniversary. And let me tell you, at just over £5,000, these are a tour de force. One of the best new loudspeakers I've heard from Audio Physic in a very long time. They've given you the aluminium trusses from the reference range. They've given you the vibration reduction terminals on the back of the speaker itself. They have the hyper holographic CT Mark III tweeter. They've got the ceramic foam from the reference series as well. This speaker defies its price point, and again, some incredible reviews. Fantastic bass response, courtesy of the Cardeus bass units, and in the glass finish, these offer additional vibration control because that external casework, which actually gives you even more longevity due to the fact that these will not scratch unless you use something deliberate to do so. You don't get the micro polishing scratches that you do off high gloss finishes. So these give you great aesthetic, brilliant sound, and when you hear them, you will be shocked at the price point. Finally on this list, and by no means the least of the performers, is the Lindemann Woodnote Solo. Now, in isolation, it uses an AKM chipset, and you can say, well, yes, you can get that on other devices. But let's just say it's not just about the chipset that is used. It's very much a case of what actually goes into the overall design of this incredible device. Norbert Lindemann is a man of intense passion and someone who has the genius ability to conceive or visualize a sound in his mind and then recreate that as an actual device, and the Woodnote is a perfect example. These are artisan built, designed and beautifully constructed German devices. The sonic characteristics again defy its price point in an incredibly compact package. And when you hear one, how musical it is, everything can be upsampled to DSD as well, which Norbert is a great believer in bringing the best and indeed the least amount of sonic distortion in a digital signal. You understand why reviewers, and there's a great review in Hi-Fi Plus on this device by Alan Sircom, why they love what Woodnote does. And at £1,850, it represents incredible value for money. But what will surprise you is that how far beyond that you would have to go to get something that you would perceive as actually better. So that is the very quick roundup of our Bristol Hi-Fi equipment that we will be using. I genuinely hope you can make it this weekend to the show itself. I will be there on the Friday and the Saturday. Unfortunately, I won't be there on Sunday. I have another, let's just say, appointment that I cannot get out of, sadly. However, I will be there all day Friday and Saturday, so please come in and say hello. But you will be met with a welcome smile and the enthusiasm that all members of the Elite Audio team naturally possess in such a high energy environment as the Bristol show itself. So by the time you see this, we will be physically in situ in Bristol and eagerly awaiting the arrival of you for the show itself. It is my favourite hi-fi show on the calendar of events throughout the year, and genuinely, as I'm videoing this, I honestly can't wait for the show to start. It is just one of those great events that are just fantastic to be a part of, and I've got to say Audio T do a brilliant job of organising the show. The organisation level is exceptional, and the way that they allow us as an exhibitor to set up and strip down is one of the most organised and efficient structures of any show that I have ever seen. So whilst you don't see that when walking around, they do deserve the praise, rightly so, for the way they go about organising everything. So thank you to them for continuing with what I believe is the best hi-fi show in the UK. So as ever, I wish you a great week listening to music, and I hope that the next time I see you is actually face to face in Bristol. And until then, please take care.